Brad Cumston, and he comes from all around, but right now, parts of Pennsylvania, and he's going to spend a little time with you.
Right there. Did anyone not get the yellow sheet that has my classroom procedure guide? Pass it back here. Thanks.
That one doesn't have like a side viewer. It doesn't have like a side viewer.
You can move it down.
Okay. Hello, my name is Brad Cumston, and I'm from Doddridge County, West Virginia. Those of you who don't know about Doddridge County, we've got the lowest crime rate in the nation. Paul Harvey said if you want to commit a murder, go to Doddridge County, West Virginia. Because we have very few police. Instead of Andy Griffith and Barney, we just have Barney. I rode a school bus to school, an hour and a half to school, hour and a half from school. That's 3 hours a day for 12 years. When I grew up, we had 2 grades in one classroom. First and second grade, and one teacher taught it, third and fourth, and so on. There were only 6 kids in my actual grade. I like to brag I was the second smartest kid in the class. Went to Doddridge County High School, and they give you awards when you're a senior. You know, I had 2 brothers. One of them got most likely to succeed. One of them got best looking, and I got most gullible. I unanimously won it. The yearbook actually created just for me. I came to Glenville State College. It only took me 5.5 years to get a multi-subject degree, and basically I know very little about a multiple of subjects. I graduated from here, went to Marion, South Carolina, and the reason I went there, I went to see the beach, to Myrtle Beach, after I graduated. First time I'd seen the ocean. So I said, well, I'm going to go down there and teach school. So I got an interview, and they said, we need you to come down and teach 6th grade math. I said, I'll be honest with y'all, I can't do 6th grade math. I'm scared of fractions. I said, I'm scared of fractions. I skip word problems. That would be an injustice to the students. They said, we need you bad. We need you. We need teachers bad. I said, okay, I'll learn it. So I spent every night doing that thing called studying. I learned how to do that. I stayed up till midnight, learning that 6th grade math. I'd go in and during my planning periods, I'd go to the 7th grade teacher. I'd sit in her class and take notes. During lunch, I was waiting in line with her students, asking her questions about my math. So I thought the content's going to be tough for me. I understood that. But I thought classroom control and management, discipline, that'll be a piece of cake. Because, I mean, first of all, I come from Doddridge County, West Virginia. We got the friendliest and most courteous students in West Virginia. There's a sign right in front of the school, and it's true. But, so I lost my train of thought there. You'll do that sometimes. Anyways, I thought it'd be a piece of cake. Because I can ball spin, juggle, do magic. I can stand from half court and throw a playing card and make a basket with it. I'm in negotiations with Guinness Book of World Records. I figured, shoot, I'm Mr. Entertainment. These kids will love me. And they did love me. Mr. Cumston, we love you. You're the greatest teacher in the world. Well, they walked all over me. My classroom was a zoo. I would not even stand here and tell you some of the things that happened in that classroom. I'd be embarrassed to stand up here. And in 2 weeks, my classroom is so out of control. I called my dad. He's a principal here in Doddridge County. He was back then. He said, Brad, come back home. He said, quit that. He said, I've got a 4th grade position. It'll be a piece of cake. I know you signed the contract, but it's a different state. And this is my dad. I mean, this is a guy that growing up, I went out for Little League. We had 3rd through 8th grade because the leagues are so small. And I had to stand there and get hit by those pitchers. I was left-handed. And I just always wanted to quit. Dad, please let me quit. No. You started it, you finish it. And here was my dad telling me to quit something. I said, no. You never let me quit anything growing up. I'm not going to quit now. So I decided that night I would type up what you see on your desk in yellow is my procedure guide for what a perfect classroom would be. If you could dream up the perfect classroom, in my mind, this is how it worked. Now this has been modified a little bit, but I went in that next day and I put a copy on every desk. I took every fun-looking poster off the wall, threw it in the trash. I rearranged all the desks. I moved my desk. I moved the trash can. There was not one thing in that room that was not changed head to toe. Even the way I dressed, I changed that some. The kids walked in, they didn't even realize the same classroom. They were like, were we in the right room? Yes. The old Mr. Cumston's gone. The new Mr. Cumston's here to stay. I will train you for 1 week. At the end of that week, you will be known as the best behaved students in this school. And by Christmas, you will know that you are the best behaved students in the world. And that was our goal, and that's what we did for a week. We didn't do any math. We learned my procedures. And just luckily, the superintendent of schools, Miss Dr. Allreed, she came in to observe, probably because she heard my class was a zoo. She's probably coming in to get on me. And after that class, she said, I heard, some kind of bad things about your classroom, but she said, those are the best behaved kids I've seen in 20 years. So what'd you do to them? I said, I trained them. And she said, well, I want you to come to our beginning teachers workshop and tell them the secrets that you did. I said, okay, so I kind of got my head swelled, and I wrote this manual here. And so I did that. And I'm going to just tell you a few of the secrets you can find in that manual. I can't tell you everything. There's a lot in here. I'm going to tell you a few of the things, make it fast. You don't have to take these notes. These are for me. Okay, first thing I did was I taught them there would be no arguing or excuses in my classroom. My biggest problem is we'd be working on assignment. Two nice little kids would be back there just quietly talking. Mike, Joe, quit talking, get back to work. Oh, Mr. Combs, we were talking. That's Becky behind us. No, Mr. Combs, that's Robert. He's poking me with his pencil or his pen. No, I don't even have a pen or pencil. I got a detective case in my hand. I didn't want that. I wanted quiet, get back to work. Okay? So I decided to come up with a rule. Whenever I tell you to do something, I don't care, even if I'm wrong, you got to do it without giving me any feedback. If you give me one word of feedback, but, Mr. Combs, I was just, whatever, that's half your recess, gone. You give me another word, that's 2 recesses. You give me another word, that's 2 recesses, plus you copy my procedure guide, and I'll call your parents at that recess. And that will be followed with no deviation. That was the first thing I taught them. Once you eliminate argument excuses, your classroom's so much better. I can't even begin to tell you how much better it is. Now, as far as my procedures, the first week, here's some of the things I taught them. When you come in the classroom, and all this is in that guide you'll see right there in front of you. When you walk in this room, once you cross the plane of my door, notice I even used a math term. I was learning my 6th grade math. Now, I said, once you cross the plane of this door, there is no talking. You put a book, library book, notebook, and 2 pencils on your desk. Begin the overhead assignment. That is the routine every day in my classroom. Now, what goes on in the middle is going to change throughout the year. But how that classroom starts will always be the same. Then at the end of the the end of the class, once the bell rings, you raise your hand. I point to you individually once you're packed up. Or I may say row, or once I get them well trained, I may just give them the all clear. And they all leave. Now what this does, it has them leaving quietly too. And the teacher across the hall, she won't, if your kids come crashing out of there into her room, she's thinking, man, they're just going crazy over there. Mr. Combs, he must have a wild bunch. But if you make them all leave quietly, they'll see that. And you'll build a reputation as a teacher. Second thing I did, a teacher came to me one time and he said, if I could just get these kids to stay in their seats, I'd have them made. He's right. Now, how do you make them stay in their seats? How do you get ahead of them? Here's how you do it. Here's the 3 biggest reasons a kid can be up. They love to get up for these 3 reasons. I need to sharpen my pencil. Get up. Ring, 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 ring. Don't you love that sound? All through class. Ring, 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 ring. Then they sit back down. Of course, talk to their buddy, sit back down. Oh, I got to throw something away. They'll get up and maybe get really distracted and shoot a basket. Okay? Then go back, talk to their buddy, sit back down. Now, they got to go to the bathroom. Then they go get a drink. They find every reason in the book, but these are the 3 biggest reasons a kid can be out of their seat. Well, what can you say? They need to do these things. You got to let them do them. Here's what you do. Here's what I did. First of all, I took that pencil sharpener off the wall and threw it in the trash. Never again will that be in my classroom. I took an electric pencil sharpener, put it inside my desk. When the kids come in, they start the overhead assignment. They have 3 to 7 minutes, depending on what I want to give them. I take roll, and then I pull out that sharpener. I say, bring pencils forward for sharpening. The kids bring their pencils up. I personally sharpen them. Get them all sharpened and put the sharpener back inside. It's never used again during class. Now, remember when I said 2 pencils on your desk? When you're a teacher, you'll realize that's a miracle if you get kids to bring 2 pencils to class. How do you do that? Well, my reward system, which I won't discuss today, I don't have time, but it was simply a box to where I would draw out names. Kids that have exhibited good behaviors, their names are in there. I pull out their names. And by the way, every student would be in there for some reason. I pull out the name, Mike Jones. The only way he collects that prize is if he has 2 pencils. They don't have to be sharpened, but just 2 pencils. First time I say Mike Jones, Sir, make sure you bring 2 pencils. Jaleesa Roberts, Jaleesa, thanks for bringing 2 pencils. There's your prize. There's your candy bar. There's your pencil, sticker, whatever. Next day, guaranteed, those kids will come in with handfuls of pencils. Mr. Counselor, we're ready. Draw. Yeah, they will prepare for you. So now you've got them bringing 2 pencils. Get them all sharpened. What's the odds of both leads breaking? Very little, but it will happen. So you got to back up for that. On my desk is a small box of pencils. Very small pencils. Pencils no one would want to trade for. When their leads break, they raise their hand. Mr. Counselor, I broke both leads. No problem. Trade my pencil, and it's over. And just in case they've got a little tiny pencil, I've actually got ratty old crayons in here. Now, I won't make a big scene of it and be like, he gets the ratty old crayon. Don't do that. Just very simply go out and dig through like you can't find it and say, I'm sorry, that's all I've got. Just keep going. They'll learn. Don't trade with Mr. Counselor. You'll get the worst end of the deal. Now, restroom and drinks, I had an hour and a half in my class period. I taught 6th grade. So it's going to be a little different for you. But I, in the middle of my class, I actually took a restroom drink break. And I had it timed out and we can do it in like 4 minutes. Bam, get it done. Now, if you've got a 45-minute class period, that's going to be a little more difficult. You may have to come up with something else. Trash. For me, if you'll see on this sheet, there are only 3 times the trash can is open. And that is when they come in the door, when they go on that restroom break, and when they exit the room. The trash can is closed at all of the times. And I won't give them a consequence. If they just happen to get up, and during training, by the way, I'll take that trash can and I'll actually hide it, except during those times. It's physically closed. And in here, this would be pretty cool. You could actually take this guy's leg and maybe set it over here. Put a little sign on it saying, this is the last guy tried to use a trash can that's closed or something. The trash is closed. And they learn this. Once they get in a routine, they'll start storing their trash until those times. So, you've eliminated the top 3 reasons for them to be out of their seat. Next thing we're going to talk about is line formation. If I just told y'all to go outside and line up, we're going to do something. Guaranteed y'all go like this. Go outside. This is exactly how you line up. It's how any kid lines up because it's smartest for them. Because with this stance, the teacher's walking along through here. I can keep an eye on them while I talk about this person's mother, while I poke them in the back. Crazy things you wouldn't even dream they're doing. And they can keep a good eye on the teacher. And then the teacher finally sees them scuffling up there. What are you guys doing up here? I told you guys get single file. We're not going anywhere. How many times your teacher say that? We're not going anywhere. Kids don't really care a lot of times. They don't really want to go there anyways. So, 2 tricks. 1, 0 talking. When we go somewhere as assembly or fire drill or anything, and whatever we do, line up restroom break, no talking. 1 word results in your entire recess being gone. No questions asked. And they know that. And it's a very strict thing, I know. Normally, I always start out with half the recess or a very small consequence. I'm not big on giving big, massive consequences. Give the smallest one possible that will take care of it. But outside, no way. It has to be perfect. Second thing you want to make sure to do, instead of standing like this, teach them to put their backs to the wall. If you put kids' backs to the wall, first of all, it's a more relaxing stance for the kid. They can stand there longer if they need to. Plus, the biggest reason, what you don't see, you don't normally play with. So these people here, they're out of view. You can't even see them. The teacher, you can clearly see, who can clearly see you. So, you cut down a lot of your problems. You'll still have problems. And you'll have problems teaching them to do this. You can't expect to take a group out and teach them backs to the wall in one time. Because it's in their blood to stand how it's best for them. But you have to teach them how to stand for it to be best for you. So spend time teaching that, and you'll get a lot of comments from other teachers. Wow, you have a group of angels there. Well, they may be murder back in the room, but they look like angels. So keep that in mind. Teach you a few tricks about lunch duty and bus duty. Lunch duty and bus duty are bad because you don't know all the kids, and they're going to limit tests like crazy. But we had 300 kids in 6th grade, and they would go flying to the cafeteria doors like a herd of cattle, busting against that door, trying to get in there because they knew once they ate, they could go out and have recess. So everybody wanted to go first. And the teachers would stand there saying, get single file, we're not going in here, do you guys get single file? They'd waste half their recess trying to get lined up. Well, I come up with a little trick. I noticed down the sidewalk, where they're supposed to be standing in this big single file line, was a crack that went all the way down the middle of that sidewalk. So I come out about 10 minutes before duty started. And when the first kid got there, I said, foot on the crack or you go to the back. And I taught them. It took about a week. But after a week, they learned you stand with one foot on that crack. That's all you got to do. But if you let those feet come off, accidental or whatever, Mike, back of the line. If he says, oh, I will stand on Mr. Combs, I just step off for a minute. Mike, go to the waiting table. You'll be the last to eat today. That, they learned they were going to the back. They give me a lip. They're going to that waiting table. They're very, very last to eat. So there's a consequence for everything. And you might want to, depending on yourself, you might want to pull the kid aside and tell them this. Can I talk to you for a second? The rules fit on the crack. Go to the back. Since you gave me some words, sit on the table for 5 minutes. You don't want to belittle people in front of their peers. If you ever want to chew a student out, or be hard on them, take them outside in the hall. Talk to them away from their peers after class. If you try to do it in front of their peers, you might as well be talking to a smiling wall. So these kids, they will not care to give you attitude. You asked for it. You asked for it. If you try to give them attitude or get on them in front of their peers, you're asking for problems. I'm not saying take any lip, but do the smart thing. Okay, assemblies. My dad was a principal, and he said the best way to dismiss an assembly is like this. Always dismiss the back row first. Now, it seems easy just to dismiss these rows first, but what you want to do is dismiss this row because they are forced to stand up and walk single file and right down the row. Then the next row, back row, go ahead. They are forced to stand up and walk out. Whereas if I started down here and said, okay guys, go ahead. This group goes, then this group. These guys are going to be tempted and will come crashing down the bleachers. They're not going to go single file. They're going to go down those bleachers. You are setting yourself up for a much better exit, especially if you have observers. And this can be used if you're a gym teacher. You've got a group of 80 students. You want them to leave orderly one day. Do it like this. Okay, setting up your classroom. When you first start your classroom, you better have assigned seats, because if not, they're going to group with their peers and they're going to be loud. They're going to give you problems. So the first day, put a note card on everybody's desk. Then in 1 month, you're going to sit down with those note cards and you're going to figure out the best possible maximum, the best place to put every kid. Now, I've labeled kids, and you can't always do this perfectly, of course. But in a class of 25 kids, here's how I divide them up. First of all, I pick out my peer attention-seeking students. These are your class clowns. There's only one place for a class clown. That's in the back corners of the room. Why? Because you're taking them off their stage. If they're up front, every little face they make, every little thing they do is noticed by the class. Put them in the back corners of the room. Now your teacher attention-seeking students. Where do you put these? These are the kids that are still loud and cause problems, but they just want my attention. It takes a little while to figure out these kids. You need a month at least. My 2 words, I put them right here, front 2 corners. Now you'll be tempted to put these kids in the back of the room or outside in the hall somewhere, but put them in the front of the room, because it's just wasted travel time for you. You're going to have to go see these kids, so put them right here and right here where it's easy for you to get to. And plus, keep this in mind, these 4 people are affecting the least amount of people as possible. That's what you're trying to do. Notice how this person directly affects 3 people. Directly affects 3 people, whereas this person directly affects 8. And everybody else directly affects 5. But the corner's 3. Now, you surround your class clowns with what I call, very simple classification, your quiet students. These are the kind of students that wouldn't give Michael Jordan attention if you were back there talking to him. They'll even look like, whatever, get back to work. Pull these students aside after class, not in front of their peers, but pull them aside and say, thanks so much for not giving Mike when he made those funny faces or funny noises. If everybody's like you, I'd have it made. Brag these kids up because they're helping you out big time. Now, your slow learning students, you want to put them in the area of maximum attention. Maximum attention. That's a funny looking S. So surround them. Put them around your teacher attention seekers. You're going to be there anyways, so now you can help them. If you're visually or hearing impaired students, quite obviously they go towards the front of the room so they can hear and see everything clearly. These are my helpers. They run the projectors. They're working on projects for the next day, whatever. You put them in the back because they're less distracting while they're doing these things to the other students. Plus, you trust them, so you put them back there. Last classification, these are your advanced students, the ones that are having the highest success so far in your room. I put them in each right down the middle. Why? Because if I have a game or competition, this way all the rows are somewhat evenly balanced. Everybody's got one of the advanced students. One row is not always winning. Plus, a couple other reasons. By putting them beside each other, they build rapport with each other. They become competitive to want to do better in your class. And they're placed, this is my favorite part, they're placed right beside of a slow learning student. So if I want to do group work with two people, if I want to make it like a tutoring type thing, I can pair them up with that slow student. So this, in my opinion, is the way I like to set up my class. Once I figure out what kind of students I'm dealing with, and about a month or two later, I'll look at it again, and I'll put it exactly like this, only maybe different people this time. Sometimes your teacher attention seekers, ease up, and you got somebody else who wants your attention. Put them there. Okay. About group work, I'll tell you this real quick. I know your teachers tell you to do a lot of group work. I remember when I did group work, it was one guy wrote everything down, another guy and said, okay, I wrote everything down now. Somebody else is going to talk. And then the other two, they're pressures. That's your job. They pressure somebody into finally getting up and talking what the group has learned. Okay. My grandpa had a saying about group work. There were three of us boys growing up on the farm. And he said, one boy, a boy. Two boys, half a boy. And three boys, no boy at all. Think about that. The more people you have in a group, a lot of times the productivity actually goes down. But in my classroom, I teach them individually first. Then I go to two-person group activities, then three-person group activities, and then if I'm feeling really brave, I'll go to a four-person with a game or something like that. To end, I'll tell you a real quick story about Mitchell and the fake arm. I had a kid named Mitchell. I like to train my students so I can do some fun things with them. And I'm going to teach you, and my next time I come back, you're going to see some of those fun things we do. Ball spinning, juggling, magic, things I try to incorporate in the lesson once I train them. Mitchell comes in with a fake arm. Real looking as can be. I've never seen an arm that's real looking. Real hand and everything. I said, Mitchell, you show this to anybody yet? He said, no. I said, good. We're going to play a joke on everybody. Come into my class third period and just go to the bathroom, put that thing up your sleeve, up your sweatshirt sleeve, and just come back in like nothing. So the class comes in. Of course, they know the routine. Sit down, notebooks, library book, start doing their assignment, no talking. I walked in, closed the door. I said, folks, you know my procedure for coming in this classroom. Many of you were not following it. My consequences must not be hard enough. I pulled out a ruler. I said, Mitchell, hand on your desk. Mitchell put his hands on his desk. I said, there were other of you. I said, but Mitchell, you're one of them. Hands on your desk. Put his hands down, drew back that ruler. Bam! Came right down on top of Mitchell's hand. The whole class, their mouths were like this because they're like, Mr. Cummings is gone. He's going to get fired. And I just looked at him and I said, I think for that I deserve a hand. And I ripped that arm out there. Their mouths even went further down there. And then finally they just started rolling laughing. They loved it. So I like to play with them too, once I train them. And I will just say, in ending, this is not a Bible-based course, but the Bible does say something very smart, and that is train up a child in the way he should go, he will not depart from it. It doesn't say beg, threaten, doesn't say any of that stuff. It doesn't say yell, it says train. So keep that in mind when you begin your teaching career. Thank you, and thank you for your attention.
Are you going to show them some of the juggling things?
Oh, I forgot about that.
Here's some things he will. Here.
I'll just give you a quick preview of some of the things I'm going to show you how to do next week. Not next week, I'm sorry.
Let's give us time to get our WebCP figured out first.
I'm going to actually, if I can get Miss Billy to help us out, we're going to actually make everybody juggling balls to actually take with you once you leave. I'll just show you a few things. Now, ball spinning, obviously this takes more than a day or even, it takes about a month to learn how to spin a basketball, but you can. The secret to spinning a basketball is get it on the fingernail. A lot of people you see they spin basketballs, they're pretty decent. They can spin them, flush their finger. They think they're good, think they're real good, so they go offhand pinky, because that is the toughest trick in the book, offhand pinky. Now, I'll show you some other tricks you'll like better probably, but that's the toughest for me. I know this. I used to eat my hot fudge sundae like that. Had a little free time growing up, if you can't tell. I can put it on my razor and shave. I'll show you one last trick with it. I'll just prove to you I can write a kid's name. Maybe. Oh, very bad. I'm left-handed, I'm sloppy. Get away with it. Now, as far as juggling, I'll be teaching you one style. I actually teach 9 styles. I'm coming up with an instructional video that teaches 9 styles of juggling and 47 total tricks. But this is crisscross style of juggling right here. There's clown style, circular, you got elevator, one comes up, woo! One comes up, 2 comes down. Fake juggling. Oh, I didn't bring my apple. I was going to show you a cool trick where I take an apple. One of these is an apple, we'll just pretend. I start eating the apple, and I put it back in, eat the apple. Or you can let a volunteer eat the apple. Of course, they might not want to eat after you. I can combine the two. All right, I'll quit showing off. One last trick I'll show you. I don't have time to show you the tricks today. I'll just give you a little preview. This is something that when I work in the juvenile placement center, kids love this. They can learn it in 5 minutes. How to spread cards and play with them like you see people on TV doing. It's real easy to learn. If you want to learn, you get a brand new deck of bicycle playing cards. You put pressure with that pointer finger as you drag across. And then once you spread them like this, any first grade kid can play with them. I teach them little tricks. If you want to stop in the middle, tap that side. Tap, stops, play with it. We've got some one-hand cuts I teach. These are real easy to learn. This one's a little difficult. I've got a one-hand shuffle I've been working on for a year, and I'll just for being gutsy, I'll try it. One more time, just because I tried. This is brave, by the way. No way. Decent. All right. Thanks a lot. And like I say, when I come back, I'll teach you.
Right, I must seem pretty boring now. But let me just quickly share with you before you go. Let me give Melanie. Melanie, would you go for it? If you would take this time, because I want to see Okay, thank you very much. Before I forget, did everybody get the how to get on the WebCT?